Hello and welcome. This is the banner overview for the week of September 15th. So, Alchemist Code movie / Dark Phantoms rerun. So, originally I thought that this was just a straight up rerun, no questions asked, just more filler, which kind of annoyed me because I think that the Dark Phantoms, at least the original four, well, not counting Dark Julia and the Dark Twins, but the original four, pretty outdated at this point. Why is Gumi trying to push them? Aside from a good opportunity to get the free unit Kasumi, otherwise nothing too special. But then they posted the unit upgrades. It was a little bit later on, but it's pretty substantial insofar as the units that affects. In addition, there's also mostly what you're going to see are HP boosts and attack modifier increases, but Evelika, Hazel, and then all of the Dark Phantom units except for Dark Julia. That's a shame. I would not mind some upgrades for her. But you're going to see just multiplier increases, chances of status effects, that kind of thing, and a few unique special things, some of which I'll go over specifically. I wanted to start with Dark Chloe. So originally I didn't think she was that good. Then she got more enlightenment, and then she has something that not a lot of dark units have, which is P defense scaling. There are good ways to boost P defense, like the Liu Shen adjacent buff, among others, and it's just a niche that is not something that's very filled in dark. Like, for example, if you never got the chance to get Naofumi from the Shield Hero collab, that was the most significant P defense scaler for dark. So barring that, Dark Chloe could definitely work. There's not a lot of situations where you explicitly need that, but it does come up from time to time. In addition, equipping the Dazzling Blade on her will give her HP regen, so that can free up some gears. And then just more attacks have the P defense scaling. So overall, it seems like a pretty good upgrade, especially in an element that could use that type of kit. Then we get to Dark Otima. So he is still viable, in my opinion, as a support unit. He can Veil, he can do magic res down, and he's fairly fast. That's all you really need, but now he can do a little bit better job at surviving and do a little bit more damage to supplement your actual damage dealer. And a really nice thing is he's got more skill use counts on some, because he really didn't have enough skill use counts. Like, I think, honestly, even when he was first released and his damage was pretty good, he was still kind of lacking in that department. So that certainly helps. So for Dark Zion, he's in a harder position because Dark already has tons of slash damage dealers. However, he could definitely have a niche as a anti-human debuffer because he's got a all element res down plus healing nullification for human type enemies. You know, it's definitely a niche because there's a lot of not-human enemies. But it seems like the combination of PvP and the occasional annoying enemy / raid boss could be handy. Then we get to Dark Setsuna. And she is in, I think, the worst position out of the original four in that there's just so much competition for fire. Like, I don't even necessarily think she's a horrible unit. She can do a charge up and then an AoE, which is always a good thing to have for a damage dealer. And then she can also, now, thanks to the upgrade, do her AoE with no skill use count. Even nicer. It's just, when you look at her rarity plus the other options that are available, it's harder to make a case for her. But Dark Mirror and Dark Nyx, however, it's really only good for them because they are, in my opinion, good units to have, and now they're even better. For Mirror, it's mostly attack increases, more modifiers. But for Nyx, he got a lower magic res, which is great because that's just more fun for him. He's already just kind of a raid unit. Now he's even more of a raid unit. And then the memento that just came out helps him out quite a bit in addition. And they have memento leader skills on their mementos. So if you've already taken the time to max limit break them, that's even better. Although there is going to be a problem with the new memento in that it has a skill use count +1 on them, so you'd want that on the main stat, and thus you wouldn't be able to use the memento leader skill at the same time. Kind of a design flaw in my opinion, but I'm not sure how they could have dealt with that aside from just adding skill use count onto their original memento, and that just is not something that they would do. But yeah, that's about all I've got for the preamble portion. So let's go ahead and take a look at the banners. And here we are at the banners. So paid banners are pretty much usual fare, just reroll, and the 100 summons, which I think they're a little bit too expensive for how dicey they are. And then reliefs, as usual, I don't think it's worthwhile because you can get enough of them for free. I just think, as far as mementos go, spending gems to get something new is just infinitely more valuable than spending them to just get a duplicate. So for the Dark Phantoms, assuming you did want to go for them, which my overall conclusion is not too much different than what it was before they released the unit upgrades. I think starting from scratch is probably not the best use of your resources. However, if you've already got one or more of them and you were on the fence about raising them, I think that the scales could have tilted more towards them being worthwhile to raise, depending on which one it is. Like, if you need a Veiler, then Dark Otama, definitely worth raising. If you think you can utilize P-Defense scaling, Dark Chloe for sure. Just because the odds are, if you've been playing a long time, chances of having one's fairly high. And then in the case of Dark Mirror and Dark Nyx, like, definitely worth raising, just unconditionally. That being said, I don't think that these banners are a particularly good way to get them, the 3 steps. They are available in the shop, and then there's also the 9-step premium summon, which is the one here. If, for whatever reason, maybe you just love these units and you just want to get them, that's always a viable path to go to. You could just do this and get enough to hopefully pull the one you want, and if you don't, you could transmute them. And that would be that. There is a 3-step that I don't think is particularly worthwhile. As much as I love Claris, I absolutely love Claris. She is just a destroyer of boss enemies if they're weak to thunder magic. Her and Vera are just this duo of absolute destruction. But not the best way to acquire. I mean, Cheryl is a unit you can get for free, and I think Yura seems like not too bad of a unit either, but just way, way too dicey. I would just try and catch her on a Louise shop week, or just a better banner where you just happen to get her. Like potentially this one. I don't think that this is the best coin banner ever, but it definitely is not the worst I've ever seen. The only real hesitation I would have on pulling this is the fact that you can get Judith or Cheryl, who are, technically they're limited, but not really, because you can farm 3 shards a day, get them really, really easily. So therefore, a pull is less valuable than the rest of the units on here. And Evelika, she seems alright. Water slash unit. And then Ikasa has her hard to kill niche. And if you can make use of the coins, then it's a fairly good banner. But otherwise, I think these coin banners are better when they're either Genesis or Global Original, just because the scarcity levels are going to be much higher. Autumn Relief Ticket, my only comment on this is, why can you only use 1 ticket at a time? That's torture. Like, do you hate us that much, Gumi? The memento for Dark Phantoms. Now this, I think, is a pretty good deal if you're able to make use of it, because it's a 5-step banner. Get it on step 5. The original 4 plus the Dark Twins can all benefit from it. The Dark Twins benefit a little different from it, but they get the skill use count +1, which I think is great. Especially if you don't have one of their mementos, which they really want their mementos, their specific mementos. But if you don't have one of them, you at the very least could get an extra skill use and some extra damage for them at a price that is less than what is usual for mementos. And then it's got a memento leader skill on top of it. The VCR is not too amazing. You can get some status res from it and just like some HP, but it does have a snowball that is pretty good, and it affects all 6 of the applicable units, where they'll start out with a high defense modifier against human type units, and that'll decrease as the battle goes on. But then as the battle goes on, their all attack and their jewel spent will get buffed. So they get a snowball, they get damage modifiers from the memento itself, and in the case of the twins, they get a skill use count +1. That is a pretty good memento in my book. So if you are a big user of Dark Mirror or Dark Nyx, then this is an excellent banner. Or if you're a big fan of the Dark Phantoms in general, then pretty good and just cheaper than normal. So this one gets my seal of approval. This one doesn't. Too many normal pools in there, unless you want to go all the way to step 9 and grab that selector to grab a memento you just really wanted. Like, say you missed out on Ikasa's that came out fairly recently. This is a good chance to grab it. But otherwise, not a great banner. And this one, I think there is no reason to do this banner. I actually, funny story, put in a ticket about this because originally I had a graphic displaying limited mementos. And I was like, hey, is this a mistake? Like, it shows limited on the pictures and you do the selection and you can only pick normal pools. They sent back like, yes, it was our intention to always have it be normal pools. Like, they didn't even acknowledge that they made a mistake, but then they did change it later, so I guess that's fine. Lucky for them that it would be hard to accidentally pull on it because you would have to get through the selecting process and you'd be like, hey, there's no limiteds on here. So good for them, I guess. But man, they've been pretty bad with graphics lately. It is a bummer. But the reason I think there's no reason to do this is that in the secret shop, there is a memento selector you can get for 2,500 gems, and it's got all the same mementos that are on here. So especially if you wanted to get Cellier's or Mialiki's memento, that is a... Actually, wait, can you even get Cellier's or Mialiki's on here? Okay, I like this banner even less. Yeah, do not do this banner. There's no point. It's better off just buying the selector and getting the one you want in one clean, easy step. So for older stuff, if you wanted to get the Kalmia or Teresa memento, you could still do that, or still get Bashini's new memento. But other than that, nothing too noteworthy. So yeah, that is it for this week. If you are summoning, I wish you good luck, and I will see you all next time.